I have a history of sexual trauma. I was molested as a little girl, and then I didn't remember. I repressed the memories. As I got older and dated, got into different relationships, I was noticing a theme. I didn't notice it right away. I noticed it in hindsight after what I call like the worst relationship I ever got into. The guy was a narcissist, but I didn't know it then. I didn't have the terms for it. I didn't fully understand his behavior until when I was able to get out of that relationship. That's what propelled me to my spiritual path. And so when I dove into my healing and into myself and just completely surrendered to my spiritual life and just being open to see what that would even look like. What is my spiritual life? What will my spiritual practices be? What do I believe in? As I dove into that fully, that's when I started to reflect on my past. And that's how I started to notice the pattern of the guys and their behaviors, and also my choices. And so I really, really dove into self-love and just really taking care of myself and listening to myself, learning more about me. So you could say that I have a lot of experience with understanding emotions and understanding what it's like to live with trauma, with PTSD. I am diagnosed with PTSD, and I have experience in tending to yourself. So my own journey has led me to where I am now, where a lot of the work I do does focus on talking about taking care of yourself, loving yourself, being mindful. And, there's just basics that continue to spiral as your soul expands, as you just continue to expand and go deeper in your spiritual path, in your spiritual evolution. The same golden truths are still the same. My path just continued to blossom, to evolve. I became present of my womb and stuff about sex when I broke away from that narcissistic person in the relationship. I had to tend to that and really work through a lot of pain, but also stuff that I was left with because of that relationship with him that I had to work through and heal from. There was like a health scare where they told me I might have cancer. Oh God, I can't even remember now. I'm sorry, but yeah. So that propelled me even further into really praying and also acceptance. Realizing that I am still a good person. Whatever this is, it could be karmic, it could be a lesson, and maybe it's a blessing in disguise, but I had to choose to look at it from a different perspective so that I could continue on with my life, but also searching for a way to heal myself. And a year later, during the checkup, found out it was gone. So that was a huge blessing and just such a confirmation to the spiritual work I had been doing. So stuff like that. That's when I first started to have awareness of my womb space, my vagina, my yoni, and honoring her and listening to her. So when I broke away from that narcissistic relationship, I made the decision to become celibate. I did not want to share my body. I did not want to share my energy with anyone. I wanted to focus on me. Like, I already had enough to dig through, right? So I took a vow of celibacy and stuck to it. And with that, learned and remembered so much. Like, so much wisdom came back. And I truly believe that we have all this wisdom within us. We have all this wisdom here already, and in our womb space. We have wise ancestors, and you got to remember, you too have had past lives. You have wisdom to tap into, and you have guides, you have beings in ethereal realms constantly helping you. Since then, up until now, it's just been this amazing journey of learning more about my body, learning more about my womb space, learning and being able to connect the dots on how the trauma I've gone through, like the sexual trauma from childhood, the trauma of being with men who were emotionally unavailable, or who had some narcissistic traits, who were abusive, You know, I definitely went through physical, emotional, mental abuse in these relationships, especially the last one with the man that I say is a narcissist. Over the span of years, I've come to realize in a deep way how that can affect women, how it is stored in our bodies, and how it affects our womb space. Your vagina will talk to you if there's something that is out of alignment. If you are trying to process something, if your brain, if your spirit is trying to process something, if your body remembers something, your body's trying to talk to you. Your vagina, your yoni is trying to talk to you. But, you know, if you're not tapping into that, how are you gonna know? So my hope is that during this celebration, we can dive into some of that. But the reason why I'm celebrating, if you didn't see the other video, is because, so yeah, let me take you there. So Venus, she has ascended into the sacral chakra gateway. And just because she has ascended into this chakra gateway, it doesn't mean that, I hope you can hear the birds, by the way. They're like flying all around and singing. I think they're so happy. I'm happy. Like, I just feel like it's huge confirmation. So, just love my Fae family, my bird tribe. Even though Venus has ascended into the sacral chakra gateway, it doesn't mean that this is the only time you can focus on your sacral, on your yoni, on your womb. But it is an excellent time to focus with intention. So some very intentional focus on the sacral. You know, even if you weren't here being a part of this space, or if you weren't even doing this on your own with intention, there are probably themes going on right now that have to do with the sacral chakra. So why not take this time to work with the cosmos, right? With your yoni, with your womb, with your sacral chakra. So this is what I'm excited about, because when Venus was descending, last year she was descending and she moved into the sacral chakra gateway, and it was like, what the fuck? For real. On a collective level, it was like, what? And then I think in everybody's lives, in some shape or form, there was something going on that had to do with creativity, feeling, sensation, like sensing, and sex. Let's just be real, right? Like sex is a big part of life, and it's also, you know, it's part of relationship. It's a part of relationship with yourself too, and it's just, sex is one of the biggest ways we humans channel this pure energy at the source that's coming through us. We could channel it into something creative, into creative works. You could channel it and tap into higher chakras and higher realms with meditation and other spiritual practices. And you can also do the same with sex. You can channel it into intimacy with a partner, intimacy with yourself, or even channeling it into very sacred practices, intimate practices with yourself or your partner. But yeah, so stuff about sex was coming up around October, November. Not to mention Mars was retrograde also from July pretty much up into January. It was in its shadow in January, but I still say it was still, I feel, in strong effect. And I go into this so in depth in specific podcast episodes. So if you would like to know more about that, it's She of the Throne episode 3, I want to say, and then episode 4. So there was just a strong theme in the air and so much dismantling within the masculine collective. Men were feeling this so strongly. So if you're hearing this for the first time, and if there was stuff going on in your relationship or stuff going on with your partner and he was trying to move through things, is this resonating? Or were there things you were trying to move through? Maybe you are someone who is trying to understand your inner masculine more. Are you trying to balance your energies within? And were you having things come up about sex, about pleasure? And if you're someone who's gone through trauma, it's so possible it was very triggering. I can tell you from experience. It was triggering for me. A lot came up that I thought I had resolved. It's like it kind of came up again in a big way to really, really face things that I've gone through in the past, or conversations and themes I've had to go through as a twin flame with my partner. We've had to really move through dismantling egoic behaviors, wounded masculine behaviors. And that can be in a woman or a man. But in general, the masculine collective they were getting hit strong to really face it. It's like you can't ignore it anymore. And you really can't. In this time of day now, you can't, because women are becoming so much more self-aware, and then as a collective we are, and we're working together more, bringing forth our voice, stepping up and saying, hey, this behavior is not okay. I don't want to be treated this way. We are stepping up, using our power and our voice. We are changing things, and also men who are aware and more harmonized, balanced with their masculine and feminine. They are also advocating for a change in society, for the dismantling of patriarchy. And so it's just, you can't, there's no way really to ignore it unless you really do live under a rock or some faraway place. But even then, energetically, there's no way for someone to escape something that's going on in the cosmos. Energy is energy. And as a collective, we are all in some shape or form, we're connected, we're tuned in, and we can feel things. Even if you think you're not feeling things, you're feeling things. That was a huge shift that humanity, everyone on the planet, was going through last year around October and November. And it was pretty challenging. And since then, I personally had to work on a lot of stuff around my self-image, my self-love, and self-care, taking care of myself, and how I viewed myself, and how was I going to step up and take better care of myself and my body. How was I going to be strong and courageous and not shy away from all the work I had done over all these years. Like, with everything that came up, I got so triggered. I felt like I was being pushed back years of work. And I was like, no, I refuse, that's not happening. So it's like you had to be courageous and move through things that have to do with being wounded and traumatized around intimacy and sex and partnership and, and even just pleasure in general. And for those who have been sexually traumatized, I understand the whole thing around shame or feeling like there is no sex drive there, like a disconnect between your body and your mind, or like sensations in your yoni and your body, just that disconnect, like a lot of different things like that coming up. So since that time last year, I've had to do even more work. And so now here we are again with Venus ascending. Now she's ascending, which is it's just a time of celebration, because she has been in the underworld for a while, and so have we. We have all been down there in hell, ripping away and letting the fire just burn away all the bullshit, all the levels and layers of distortion. And now we're rising again. We're rising in our power, in our sovereignty, in our uniqueness, in our mastery. And it's a lot of women rising up. So as Venus is just now ascending through each chakra gateway, she's moved from the root into the sacral. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm ready to celebrate all the work I've done. So I want to share this with you all. Things that you can do to tend to your womb space, your yoni. Have discussions about that in trauma or ancestral trauma or around sex, stuff like that. And I want to put it out there, okay, that it is possible, while, this is going to be yummy and juicy, this can rattle up, bring up stuff for us to feel. I'm not going to lie. Like, I was fucking excited on Monday. And then I think like Tuesday night or Wednesday, I was like, something's coming up and I don't know. And so this week, some stuff from last year came back for me to look at again. So I've had to cry. I've had to tend to myself. I had to remind myself to tend to myself, And be present, be there with that, but also still celebrate. With all the stuff that we'll cover or talk about, you may get triggered. Stuff might come up for healing. So just know that, be aware of that. Don't freak out, but understand that I'm here and there will be a sisterhood. You know, you're not alone and you don't have to do it alone, because we have the power to transmute. We have the power to do it. So this in a nutshell is what is gonna come through for this month. I'm excited. It's like officially the first time I'll be talking about all the stuff that I'm so excited about. This is like my jam. I mean, if you know me, you know I love talking about healing. I love all this stuff. And because of my history, my background, I know this is where the goddess is leading me, you know, to work more with women, to help women heal from trauma and show that it is possible. This is magical. I can't wait to see where it'll go. I can't wait to see what will blossom from this. You know, this is like an experiment. I'm just gonna go with it and we'll just see where it leads and what else will want to be created through me. So just once again, thank you for being here. All right, thank you. I can't wait. This is exciting. Ciao.